Hello and welcome to my presentation where I'll be ranking the warlords from weakest to strongest. I'm only including the OG warlords, so the genius jester won't be on it unfortunately. We haven't seen the full extent of what all of the warlords are capable of, so my opinion is bound to change in the future. Now let's get started. Gecko Moria is a prime example of what happens when you solely rely on your devil fruit. His devil fruit allows him to manipulate his own shadow, as well as rip the shadows from people, forcing them to live in the shadows because they'll die if they touch sunlight. That's only its secondary effect. Its main effect allows the user to implant shadows into corpses, which Moria did in order to amass an army of zombies, and he was going to let them do the work for him and make him the Pirate King. However, that is his biggest downfall. He hasn't honed his combat abilities probably since he fought Kaido, and I don't even know if he knows hockey. Other warlords can low div him, and without his zombies, he's not really a threat. It pains me to put Sir Crocodile this low on the list, but I don't think it's fair to put him higher. He doesn't really have that many feats to scale off of post-timeskip, so we can't really say too much of what he's capable of now. His biggest anti-feat was that he was defeated by Luffy before he learned Haki, Gear 2nd, and Gear 3rd, which is fair, but Luffy had a luck, aid, and a sheer willpower on his side, or else Crocodile would have killed him twice over. Given the fact he clashed with Mihawk, Doflamingo, and Akainu and walked out unscathed from those fights, he might have gotten stronger during his time in Impel Down. If Logias can awaken, and if Crocodile awakened post-timeskip, he's going to be one of the deadliest Logias in the verse. Crocodile is one of the founders of the Cross Guild, an organization that puts bounties on Marines. Crocodile is now a part of a Yonko crew, so I have no doubts he will rank higher once we see what he can do in the future. I know putting Don Quixote Doflamingo this low is contentious, but it has to be done. He has a vast array of powers. He has all three forms of Haki, and awakened his devil fruit, including creating a duplicate of himself made of string, controlling others via string, and repair his organs with his strings. His strings are capable of slicing through meteors, and his signature attack is the birdcage, which can encapsulate an island and slice through anything in its path. This feat is why Doflamingo is scaled so high, but honestly, anyone who is around Yonko commander level just has to knock out Doflamingo to stop it, or they could probably break free themselves. While Doflamingo was the first person to force Luffy to use Gear 4th, this is also the weakest version of Gear 4th Luffy, who hasn't mastered it yet. Be that as it may, Gear 4th Luffy dominated Doflamingo. Everything Doflamingo threw at Luffy was easily countered, and 4 hits almost defeated Doflamingo. Had Gear 4th Luffy initially landed that 5th hit, he would have mid-diffed Doflamingo. Once he got that second wind, Gear 4th Luffy one-shotted Doflamingo with his 5th hit, as he promised. It's also worth noting Doflamingo seems to recognize his spot in the pecking order. He's perfectly fine fighting characters like Law and Smoker, but when it comes to big hitters like Kuzan and Kaido, he's willing to back off. Jinbe's mastery of Fishman Karate is so advanced that he does not even need to touch an opponent to attack them. By using the water vapors in the air and in the target's body, he can send his shockwaves to harm them. Since Jinbe's a fishman, he gets stronger when in water, and he lives on a planet predominantly surrounded by water. If he's not fighting on the Red Line or on an island, he has the advantage, and there are few that could stop him if the fight takes place in the ocean. Jinbe has the stamina to fight Ace for 5 days straight, the durability to withstand an attack from Big Mom and Akainu's Magma Fist, and the strength to attack Big Mom to push her off the Thousand Sunny. Also, don't let his size deceive you. Jinbe is incredibly fast. He can keep up with characters like Gear 2nd Luffy. Boa Hancock is one of the deadliest close combat fighters in the verse. Her devil fruit allows her to turn anyone who has the slightest attraction to her to stone. Whenever she strikes someone with her attacks, she can petrify the immediate area of the person that was hit. She can also fire projectiles that yield a greater effect. Her Marimero Mellow is a beam that turns targets who carry lust into statues. A variation of that move is Slave Arrow, which covers a greater range. So many characters find her so beautiful that even when they see her about to attack, they are paralyzed with admiration until they are hit. Even some of Blackbeard's Yonko commanders were victims of this attack. Her hacks is insane, but don't think she relies on hacks alone. Don't forget that she is a warrior. She is very skilled in combat, so great that she speed blitzed Kobe, the person who's treated as the next Garp of the Marines. Boa possesses all three forms of Haki, and even Sengoku, the former fleet admiral of the Marines, acknowledges her strength. It's no wonder she became a warlord after her first expedition as a pirate. Bartholomew Kuma has remained the most mysterious OG warlord until recent events. With his cybernetic enhancements, Kuma can fire destructive beams of light and his body itself has been augmented. His devil fruit allows him to travel freely around the planet, which is very rare. He's also fast enough to warp between Rayleigh and Kizaru, who are in the middle of a fight. He's also any devil fruit user's worst nightmare. He can remove people from the battlefield and send them wherever he desires, including the ocean. Let's not forget that his paws can repel anything, as well as removing pain from someone, which is intangible. Nobody should be surprised that Draco Mihawk is number 1. He's the world's greatest swordsman, used to clash with Shanks, can fire energy projectiles, and can casually slice through mountain-sized objects. Mihawk is a one-man army. He sailed alone, and never had a pirate crew. And on top of that, he used to hunt marines. Most of the warlords are objectively weaker than the Yonko. The only one who is probably or more than likely up there with the Yonko is Mihawk. And I know bounties don't correlate to power, but Mihawk is the only character to have a bounty that is higher than his quote-unquote captain, which goes to show just how much of a threat the government perceives him as. Anyways, that's gonna do it for my presentation. I hope you enjoyed. Please consider sharing, and subscribing. Comment down below what you think, and I will see you next time. Later.